The cinematic universe, as we know it now, is a very new format in Hollywood. What could that look like with all original ideas?
Mm-hmm.
And what could we fill that format with if the only limit was our imagination?
In 2022, two writers came together to finish what Universal Studios couldn't. A cinematic universe of monster movies called the Dark Universe. After 3 years and 30 scripts, their project was finally completed. Now, in 2025, they're back to attempt what's never been done before. A completely original cinematic universe entirely in podcast form. I'm Dalton Deschain.
And I'm Dylan Roth.
And you are now entering the Pod Universe.
Welcome to the Pod Universe, the podcast where we attempt to create an all-original sci-fi cinematic universe, one pitch at a time. I am your lifelong sci-fi devotee host, Dylan Roth.
And I'm the person with the most fucked up Star Trek ranking possibly in human history, Dalton Deschain. And look, we're back.
We're back again for the first time.
Back for the first time. This is probably a lot of people's first episodes, but for those of you who it's not, welcome back, and welcome if it is your first time.
Yeah, we're starting a brand new project today.
This is your issue 1. This is
right.
your starting point. When you tell people you gotta listen to this podcast, the Pod Universe, you are gonna confusingly tell them, start with season 5.
Yeah, it's kind of like when if you have a TV show where they change the title after a while on the run.
Yeah.
Like they should have done with Smallville.
Or, you know, how some like periodicals will have volumes.
Yeah.
You know, this is a new volume.
Chip Zdarsky is taking over the title. And
hey, Chip Zdarsky, come on the show.
Chip Zdarsky, we would love to have you on the show. Hey, so here's what our deal is. For the past 3 years, Dalton and I have been writing scripts together as part of a long-form story. We completed the Dark Universe that Universal abandoned with the 2017 Mummy. We finished it.
Let's introduce ourselves as people before, because we'll talk more about our bona fides, at least when it comes to podcasting in a moment. But you may be wondering, who are you and why do you have any right to do this? And the answer is we're Americans and we can do whatever the hell we want.
Apparently, it's bleak out there,
and
folks.
We're podcasters, and that means we can do whatever the hell we want.
That's right. We have no shame whatsoever. We are recording here from a basement in Brooklyn. We are unstoppable.
Right. We're unstoppable. Dylan, who the hell are you?
I am a sometime freelance film and TV critic, a storyteller, a musician. I have been writing about or attempting to write films now for longer than some of you viewers have been alive.
Ooh, we got some youngins.
Well, you shouldn't, actually. If you're younger than that, then don't watch this. We're marked explicit on all platforms.
We're going to talk about naughty stuff.
Yeah.
Dylan loves to write orgies into his movies.
I've written you write one orgy.
And you become the orgy guy.
And you become the orgy. Dylan, the orgy guy. I've never been to an orgy.
We know. Well, I guess the new listeners don't.
I'm the straight one. Straight and monogamous and married and a father.
Yes.
Suburban dad.
Yes.
Live in Queens.
Typical American dream dad. I am Dalton Deschain. I am a writer. I have written a comic series, a horror comic called Monocle. I've written a novel. I have a band that also does storytelling with our songs. You may recognize me as the person who does modern songs in the style of the B-52s on TikTok and Instagram.
As the B-69s.
As the B-69s.
Your claim to fame.
Yes, that is.
It's pretty fun.
Pretty soon, this podcast will be what I'm known for more than the B-69s.
I hope so, because that would mean I'm known for something.
Yes.
That would be great.
Waiting for those Google alerts to go off any day now.
We have recently, though, seen it was a very nice influx of new audience members because we completed our project of writing the entire Dark Universe that was abandoned by Universal in 2017.
I'm queer, by the way.
Yeah. Now you know.
Dylan got to talk about his sexuality.
Listen, all I said at first was that I'd never been to an orgy, and then you had to make it all about
as a typical cishet man, then just bulldozed over my pronouns.
Let's plant the flag right here at the beginning of the new thing. No one can ever say, man, this show was good until it got woke. Woke from day one, motherfucker.
If you're not okay with woke, go broke and turn this off. They, he, right here, non-binary, queer, non-monogamous, engaged.
Yeah.
Yeah, so once we start talking about gay people in our scripts, Dylan is, as we like to say, our only cishet host and listener.
The audience
who knows
is expanding.
If that's changed?
We might know.
We might get more cishets.
We might start to find a balance. We don't really ever wanted to get more than 50%, frankly.
Yeah,
but because that might fuck with our metrics. But
as long as you're nice, you are welcome in the pod universe.
Everyone is
community.
welcome unless you're an asshole.
Yes,
don't be an asshole. It's actually really, really easy.
All right, now that we have gotten the wokeness out of the way, we can talk about the dark universe.
Yeah, we wrote 29 scripts and accepted pitches from a bunch of fabulous guests, and we released those scripts, our workshops. You do table reads of those scripts.
Do people know what the dark... Look, if this is your first time, you might be asking what the fuck the dark universe is. And so we'll give you kind of the pitch that we've had to give every single person in our lives for the last 3 years, which has been difficult to explain. But in 2017, there was a movie called The Mummy starring Tom Cruise. If you don't remember it, don't worry. No one else does except us.
We've thought about it a lot.
It was supposed to start the dark universe. This is our previous theme song. It was going to be a cinematic universe of monster movies, like the MCU. They abandoned it after the one movie because that movie was bad. We picked up the torch, and using that Tom Cruise film as our Bible, as our Iron Man, we made a 30-film cinematic universe in podcast form, which is what we're doing again.
Yes.
These are movie scripts that we are going to read to you. Movie pitches.
Yeah.
Let's
Well,
clarify. Scriptments.
The pitch of our show is so much simpler now, because instead of having to start with, remember a movie you don't remember, we can say, this is a podcast where Dalton and I are constructing an imaginary cinematic universe by writing out films, casting them with real actors who will have no actual involvement in our show and whose likenesses we avoid using in our marketing.
Yes, because we do not want to get sued.
Choosing a real director that we would like to imagine directing the film in order to set the tone for what you can play in your head.
A real director in that they really exist.
They
not
really
in
exist.
That they're really
they're
directing
not really
this
directing
movie.
it. No celebrities have endorsed any part of this show.
We had some kayfabe with the Dark Universe at the very beginning that we had been hired by Universal, and then a lawyer told us, don't do that.
Stop doing that.
So there's no kayfabe here. Well, the kayfabe here, to be clear, is that the Dark Universe, our Dark Universe project was so successful that we have now started our own Hollywood production company.
Right. We've got our own shingle.
And we've got billions of dollars to play with.
Yes, and we are going Russo's mode, but hopefully the good version.
Yeah.
And now we're going to
we're doing writing the Gray Man Cinematic Universe.
They did try. They've tried like 2 or 3 different broad transmedia deals that have all fallen immediately flat. Remember Citadel?
No, I don't.
That's right. On this show, we're going to be doing the Citadel universe.
No, we're doing all original IP this time.
And instead of horror and monster movies with a sort of a pinch of dark fantasy, we are now going to try our hand at doing sci-fi.
Yeah.
So, which is cool because when we started the show, I was sort of the foreigner in the world of horror, and I had to learn a lot about horror, and you are the lifelong horror devotee.
Yes.
Now, I'm coming in being the sci-fi obsessive.
Yes.
Not to say that you're new to sci-fi.
No, I like a scienced fi.
Yeah. But it's kind of cool that I feel like we're entering from go, though I imagine we'll branch in a variety of directions like we did last time, kind of in my wheelhouse to start with.
That's right.
Which I think is pretty cool.
For me. So here's how the show works. This is kind of an atypical episode because we are launching things. So this is mostly just going to be us talking at you. Later on in the episode, we are going to unveil our Phase 1 slate. If you are a fan of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, you know they do their things in phases.
Yeah, and because that is the only model so far that's worked, and because James Gunn is now stealing it for the DC Universe, we will also be doing that.
Yes.
That basically means that we are going to begin with one foundational text akin to Iron Man or The Mummy 2017 in our Dark Universe that we have written together.
Or Superman,
right? that we've written together, and then we will split off. Each of us will write 2 solo scripts.
Mm-hmm.
By scripts, again, we really mean, for the most part, they're full scripts.
Okay, but they are script mints.
They're script mints.
We are given...
We were allowed to summarize things sometimes,
Yes.
and we don't do scene headers because this is mostly an audio medium, and those are annoying to read aloud, and they really interrupt the flow of the story.
We do summarize some things because, look, we have like 2 months to write these things.
Yeah.
It is hard to write a full movie in 2 months, but also it makes for really long podcasting. And so we will summarize some things. We will blow past some things that we're just like, I haven't figured out this part yet. Let's
Sometimes
get to
we'll leave little notes like, this is a part I'd probably ask Dalton to write.
Yeah. Or this is a monologue would go here. Imagine it.
Yes.
You know, things
These are
like that.
imaginary movies. We do our best, but we try to hold to the schedule. That's the challenge. One thing that we're doing differently this time around is that every script will be split into 2 episodes of the podcast.
Yes. So here's how the show typically works. So we're going to have this introduction episode today. We're going to tell you what the show is, like we're doing right now. Then we are going to tell you what this first phase of pitches will include. And then we are going to do our first movie. Like Dylan said, we wrote this one together because our thought was, with the Dark Universe, we started with a movie that already existed, right? So we had to go off of that. But if we were going to start one from scratch, the first movie is really important.
Yeah, and we want to make sure it belongs equally to the both of us.
Yeah, so we co-wrote this one from scratch. The first half of that script will be told next week. So a week from today, the first half of our debut film will go. We use a 3-act structure here, not necessarily because we think that's the only way to write a movie, but just because it's a helpful way of breaking the pitches up.
Yeah, especially when you're in a hurry, it really helps you to set these benchmarks and to know, like we rarely stray very far from the textbook Hollywood screenplay formula.
Yeah.
And that's not to say it's the only way that someone should make a movie, right?
No.
But for one thing, we're trying to make Hollywood blockbusters. And for another, we're doing them really fast. And so a degree of formula is very helpful in meeting those deadlines.
Yes, for sure. So that means next week you're going to get all of Act 1 and the first half of Act 2. While we're pitching these movies, it's not just a straight audio drama. We are going to take breaks to discuss the story as it happens. A lot of those breaks will happen at the act breaks, but sometimes we'll jump in earlier.
We try not to interrupt the action too much.
Yeah.
We want to let you guys get into it.
But we'll jump in and we talk about our storytelling process. When it gets to the pitches that we didn't write together, these are an opportunity for feedback because when we write these, when Dylan writes his first pitch of the phase, I won't have read it when we sit down to talk about it. I will only know what you guys know, which is the title, the cast, and a log line. And then Dylan's going to pitch it to me, and I can jump in and be like, oh, this part is really working. This isn't landing for me. What if we punch it up this way? And in that way, not only is this an audio drama podcast, but it's also a workshop podcast. And you get to kind of peek behind the scenes of making a first draft, because that's all these are. Again, we're given 2 months.
We don't really get time to do second drafts. I mean, we can do...
We try
as
to
much
polish
revision
them up,
as we can in order to make them presentable because we want them to be good.
Yeah.
Mostly because, we want you all to enjoy it, but also we set a pretty high standard for each other and we're both a little bit competitive. So we do those table reads and in between we workshop.
In between workshop, we also will read comments from you all. We usually solicit predictions on social media and on our Discord for what you think will happen in this movie based on the trailer we released or based on what you expect to happen in the saga or to these characters.
Yeah. I imagine there's going to be a little dip in that kind of activity during phase 1 of the new thing because people are not yet familiar with the characters.
Yeah, people don't know what to
going in
expect.
pretty blind. So, right now, really, our audience that currently exists are probably just making predictions based on how well they know the stuff we like to write.
Yeah, and how much they know our past pitches.
Yes, but as the story unfolds, with luck and hopefully, and a lot of hard work, there will be some investment in the story we're telling, and y'all have takes.
Yes.
And we will read those takes.
Hot takes.
Yes.
Now, between these...
I want my takes.
Between these mainline pitches, we have guests on. We do guest episodes between each of our pitches where we have a guest come on who picks a movie. In the past, it's been a Universal film. We have relaxed those things because we're no longer tied to Universal. We're just asking for it to be a genre film, a sci-fi or horror film that is not currently franchised, that there's no active franchise for.
Something that conceivably our young Blumhouse-style studio could
Yes.
acquire the rights to
and
remake.
remake. And so they come in, we talk about the movie, and then they pitch us their modern Hollywood remake. So we've had people like Patrick Willems, who has a very popular YouTube channel about film. We've had Bill Corbett of Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Daniel Radford of Dropout and Titan Fights, as well as her co-host Lindsay Kelk. We had Branson Reese on the show to pitch a version of Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein, starring Larry David and Pete Davidson.
We've
Great
had Joseph
episode.
Fink.
Check those out. Joseph Fink, creator of Welcome to Night Vale's been on the show twice. So we get some cool guests. And now that we're entering the YouTube sphere in earnest, hi to everyone who's watching us.
Yes.
We are now a video show as well as audio on multiple platforms. I'm going to be putting the video on Spotify as well.
Oh, cool.
And
yeah,
means I have to do my hair now.
The fun of those is it's not just a typical, movie podcast, but we workshop their pitch in real time. And you kind of hear us go from, sometimes they'll come in with just a 1-sentence idea. Sometimes they'll script something. It depends on how much work they want to do. But no matter what, we'll sit here in real time and try to punch it up into a Hollywood film. And so we do those in between our main pitch episodes. And then at the end of each phase, we come together and we write our sort of Avengers movie, right? The crossover film that unites everything we've been working on. The plan right now is 3 or 4 phases. We did 4 with the Dark Universe.
We thought we were going to do 3, and then it turned out that we had more stories we wanted to tell before we got to our ending, so we extended it a little bit further. And the thing is, like a real studio, we have to a degree, respond to what's working and to like what our audience is digging, what we're enjoying doing, what we think we have more to say. And more than ever, I think the pressure is going to be maintaining an ongoing story while also creating good on-ramps for new listeners.
Yeah, let's talk about our fears and also why we did this.
All right. First and foremost, we finished the story we wanted to tell.
Yes.
On Are You Afraid of the Dark Universe? Our Death's Door saga had an ending, and I love endings. I'm very attached to the idea of stories having endings, and that's not a very popular thing in Hollywood right now. But we committed to it.
But when we started, we had this idea that we could just keep it going forever with we'll do our sort of Infinity Saga focused on the Universal monsters, and then after that we can get silly with it. We'll do, we've talked about on here, Chucky versus Megan, or I want to
do Fast and Furious presents Roman and Tej meet the Wolfman.
Yes, exactly. So we would get silly, but it turned out we were less interested in getting silly with it, and the guest episodes also gave us such an opportunity to get silly with it.
Those are the goofy ones for the most part, although you've written a few silly ones yourself.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Check out the Invisible Man episode. We do comedy for sure, and none of my scripts are without jokes.
Yeah. But yeah, the idea of keeping it going forever wasn't super palatable, but also
we started putting an insane amount of time into the show, and we started getting some attention for the show. And we would like very much not to get sued.
Yeah, so we had a meeting with a lawyer, I think, towards the beginning of phase 2.
Yeah, it was pretty early on. Who basically told us what the ceiling was for this.
Yeah.
And I hate to ever bet against myself on a creative project, but we were committed to this thing.
Yeah.
We wanted to finish it out. But that meant kind of a limit to, we could never directly monetize the show, which at first was fine because it was just a thing we were doing as a gag. Then we started putting in unbelievable amounts of work into the show and putting hours and hours and hours, and to the extent that now this is my full-time job. It does not pay like a full-time job.
Yeah, to be
that's
clear.
That's kind of part of the problem that we're trying to solve. But
also
that's how much work the show is, and so it was a bad idea to continue to commit to another couple of years of the show as Universal Monsters fan fiction. That would be a bad investment of our time.
Or any IP, really.
Yes, that's why we didn't do Nintendo Next, for example.
Which was an idea that we had.
They're quite litigious.
Yeah. But yeah, one thing we learned from the lawyer is that our show is basically continuously in limbo. The whole, no pun intended if you know the show. But basically the whole time we were doing it, where if Universal Studios decided they had enough of us and gave us a cease and desist or a takedown notice,
we'd have to just stop.
We would have to just stop.
We wouldn't
without
be able to finish the story.
The story. And so we were worried that we wouldn't get to the end of the saga before someone asked us to take this down. And like you said, we couldn't sell merch. We couldn't sell ad space, except on non-canon episodes and things. And so we didn't want any legal trouble. So we decided to focus on original characters. And the nice thing about that is there's never been an original cinematic universe because no one would want to invest that much money
Yeah.
into something that wasn't a proven property, right? So like you look at the
But Rebel Moon was going to be that. It did not work out great. But there have been two different Zack Snyder helmed attempts because there was also supposed to be the Army of the Dead
Army
universe.
of the Dead, yeah.
For Netflix, two different attempts by Zack Snyder to do his own independent Snyderverse.
Yeah.
And they both collapsed.
They both collapsed. But you look at the other ones like, the Immortal Universe is Anne Rice novels.
Mhm.
Obviously, you've got DC and Marvel. You've got Godzilla.
Star Trek, Star Wars, yada yada. All these things
yada.
they're all based on an established IP.
But with podcasts, we don't have to invest millions and millions
there's very
of dollars.
little overhead. It's really just the amount of time we put in and occasionally some nice equipment for ourselves to make the show more professional.
So we get to ask the question of the cinematic universe as we know it now is a very new format in Hollywood. What could that look like with all original ideas and without, as we talked about before, all the pressures of studios and stars and money and all this stuff? Like, what could we fill that format with if the only limit was our imagination? And that's what we're going to figure out. It's kind of weird to do an audio drama that's also a cinematic universe, but I think you're going to see, because I can see the question being like, well, what's the difference between just being an audio drama and being cinema?
Right. There's lots of expansive novel series, right? But part of the thing is, for one thing, it's the manner that we write. We like to talk about, we write in a screenplay-like format.
Yep.
We like to be very specific about like the way that we describe visuals is frequently we're talking about camera's perspective.
Mhm.
We're also we move at a faster clip than for the most part you can in a novel, because the point is a screenplay in general is not a movie; it's a blueprint for a movie, right? And it is up to everybody else who makes the movie to fill in those gaps, do their jobs, and do this. We do a little bit more maybe in our scripts than a normal script would do, because we know that there's not a production designer coming, and there's not going to be an actor performing the roles. But
we choose actors and we choose a director, so you can kind of put a visual style in your head.
We're kind of doing a different kind of take on the theater of the mind, right?
Yeah.
But it's also I don't know. It's a fun gimmick for us, right? Like the idea that we have to think about it in terms of how a movie works,
how a blockbuster works, like how this would read for an audience, in this cinema climate. How do we not repeat what's already in theaters, but be kind of hew close enough to it that it still exists in that world, right?
It's fun for the metagame, right?
Yeah.
We talk about like, all right, who is this for? How do you market this? Who could we get to do this? And who would bring something to it that would be interesting?
Yeah.
I'm really excited about the creative challenge of starting from scratch.
Yeah.
Because I think that, honestly, one of the things that makes me not nervous about starting from scratch is that when we were doing our Dark Universe, you and I are not sticklers for honoring the source material. A lot of the time, we were just using the title of of a movie.
Well, I think a lot of things fed into it. I mean, you talked about in your earlier scripts, you would start with like the opening scene of the existing property and move on from there. And I would definitely take, well, what would someone expect from this property, and then turn it on its head.
Mm-hmm.
Like they still gave us a lot of jumping off and brainstorming parts.
Sure, but one of your best and most popular pitches, Dalton, is your Black Lagoon pitch, which I would say of all of the classic Universal monster takes is the one that's the furthest removed from the original creature from the Black Lagoon. It has really very little to do with that, and it rocks, right? So I like the idea that now we're not going to completely remove the idea of, what would they do with this concept?
Yeah.
Because we kind of also are accepting that when anyone's creating a movie, one of the things that they'll do is they have to pitch it. You know, the stereotype is you get into the elevator and you have to be able to pitch it as it's this meets this.
Yeah.
Right? Is that really how it works anymore? I don't know. That's how they used to talk about it.
Well, but I think that makes a good point. Like one of the sort of double-edged sword here is that one of the things that helped us build our audience through the Dark Universe was that it was a recognizable IP. We could say it's the universe. If you're interested in the Universal monsters, we're doing that. Or if you are interested in this idea of the dark universe, we're doing that. Come see what we're doing with the Tom Cruise Mummy movie. And that could bring people in who were fascinated with this idea. Now we're like, oh, trust us to do something not based on anything.
Yeah, we're facing the same kind of challenge that studios, that writers in the professional world are facing constantly when banging their heads against studio walls, being like, please let me make a movie that's not based on a toy line.
Yes.
Please.
At the same time, the dark universe, I think, could sometimes keep people away. Because first of all, we got so deep into the process that like rebooting was also necessary just to allow new listeners in.
Yeah.
Because there was such a backlog to listen to that if you wanted to start when we were 3 years in, you had to be really committed to listening to the entire backlog.
And
which
thank
a lot
you
of
to
you
everyone
were.
who has done that.
Thank you to everyone who has done that. But we wanted to give people a cleaner jumping on point and something that didn't require knowledge of existing properties or anything. And so I think one of the things we're going to do is you will see us doing our take on a popular movie or genre, but not specifically that IPs. Like, for example, one of the things I am most excited about in this project is doing my version of Alien. Alien is like one of my all-time favorite movies. It is obviously horror sci-fi, so that's in my wheelhouse.
It's both one of the best horror movies of all time and one of the best sci-fi movies of all time.
It's incredible. But it's not going to be the Xenomorph. It's not going to be Weyland Yutani. It's not going to be the continuing adventures of Ripley. It's going to
go back to the basic premise of what if there was a killer monster on a spaceship?
Yes.
That kind of thing.
Exactly. And so you'll still see our, like, if you are a fan of Are You Afraid of the Dark Universe and you like my takes on the Universal monsters, you're going to get to see my take on Alien. It just won't be officially Alien.
Yeah,
right?
it'll be the way that almost, like, nothing is created in a vacuum, right? We're all pulling from experiences and from the things that we like. And then you have to make it personal to you. You make it something, you bring something new to it. The way that we do that now in the modern franchise world is, you have Fede Alvarez do basically Don't Breathe in Space as an Alien movie, because like this is the kind of thing that interests him. And if he wants to do a version of that that's like in space, well, you better make it an Alien movie because that's what's going to get people to go see it.
Yeah.
I think it's a pretty good Alien movie.
Would we call Cloverfield an original cinematic universe?
Cloverfield is an original cinematic universe.
Because it's not really a series, because everyone is
and that's a really
independent.
interesting thing. Like, all right, so Cloverfield is a real interesting example. It never came up when we were talking on the old show.
Yeah.
It was a single movie. It was a standalone film that has two spin-off movies that both, I think, kind of began as unrelated scripts.
Yeah, and then got kind of roped into the mythology.
Yes, to their detriment, I think. But the thing is that
I haven't seen the third one, but 10 Cloverfield Lane is great.
10 Cloverfield Lane is so good.
Dan
But the
Trachtenberg
third
the goat.
one is an interesting movie on its own, and its attempts to try and make the other two movies fit together is where it falls apart.
Interesting.
Now, we're starting from jump with the goal of making a bunch of distinct films that speak to each other and share a continuity.
Yeah.
That's a little bit different.
Yeah.
This is almost something more like M. Night Shyamalan's Unbreakable universe.
Sure. Yeah.
Except we're not going to wait 20 years in between making the first and second installments, and hopefully a better proportion of them will be good. But
we love you,
Night, we love you. You got your swing back.
Yeah. Trap
as a Jersey boy, I feel a certain kinship to your Philly self.
Wait for my take on the beach that makes you old, but isn't old.
Well, all right.
And like one thing that you will see as we announce our slate is that we actually do still have some existing IP to play with that exists in the public domain that we can still touch on, but
they're giving away the game already, huh?
Stay tuned for more of that.
They're giving
I'm
away
not
the
going to give
game.
it away. I'm not giving it away yet.
It's too much.
It's too much. People
I
are going
wasn't
to guess
allowed
it.
to say shit about this thing for months
This
and months.
is episode 1.
Okay.
We're giving it away in a half hour.
All right, a nice little tease.
For those of you who are day one Dark Universe heads, we have made some format changes. that I want to run through real quick. As we've said already, the films are going to be broken up into 2 parts. That's to make the episodes more digestible and less intimidating.
No more 2.5-hour episodes.
Honestly, no more 3-hour episodes.
Yes,
some of those
we're
going to
be trying very hard to cap these at 90 minutes a week.
Yes, which means I have implemented strict word count limitations, which I have put in here. 18, which is higher than they were before.
No, I appreciate it.
I have raised
I will do
the ceiling,
my level best,
and I've given you a soft ceiling.
Okay.
The soft ceiling is 18,000 words. Before we had a hard ceiling of 17,000. Soft ceiling at 18,000, which means try to get it to 18,000. 18,500 is the hard ceiling if you can't get it all the way down. So I just want to, there's a little bit of cushion there that's still longer than our films were before. But the idea here is now that we're splitting them up, 2 90-minute episodes is the goal.
Yes, and that will allow us enough room to discuss the scripts, workshop them without thinking like, fuck, the script is so long.
Yeah.
We really got to keep it moving.
Now,
So you'll be getting more show. Also, as we mentioned, including the monthly bonus pod for our Patreon subscribers, we are now a weekly program.
Yeah.
The cadence for this is going to be first we have this episode.
Yep.
And then this is kind of a one-off. Then the pattern kind of begins. So we're going to do scripted episode A, scripted episode B, bonus pod.
Yep.
Guest episode, scripted episode A, scripted episode B. And so if you are subscribed to the Patreon, you will get new stuff from us every Sunday.
If you're not subscribed, you'll just get a week off, although we may release our trailers on that week. I think that
cool
is something maybe we've been talking about.
Maybe. I thought we were going to put this on the guest episode.
Maybe.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. But we are reserving the right, because before we were an every other week podcast. I think we do still want to reserve the right for cushion weeks if we are running behind on things, because this is a more frenetic schedule.
In this way, we're first of all the jump to video, and the change of format. We are optimistic that we can keep this thing rolling. Please be kind. Please be patient.
Follow us on socials for updates on if we need to delay any episodes, but it will only ever be by 1 week.
Yes.
We don't know our new social handles yet.
We
Those
do
probably
not.
changed today.
Yes.
But if you go to thepoduniverse.com, they will be linked there. Thepoduniverse.com. We are also still committed to some of your favorite things from the Dark Universe, such as, we don't know how we're going to do this yet, but I want to make sure we still do musical episodes.
Yes, we're still going to do musical episodes.
I don't know how that's going to work or how that's going to fit in, but we are going to make it happen.
We're not going to have a scripted holiday special this year, but we do have holiday plans.
Yes, we have
There will
plans
be
for
a special holiday episode.
Little fun one-off things like we did for the holiday specials.
Want to acknowledge some of our new graphic design.
Oh yes, absolutely.
We're recruiting some cool folks. Our new logo is by Jenna Overstreet.
Yes, incredible.
Thank you so much. They did a fantastic job. And now when we put out episodes, we're going to have posters from someone who familiar to the community, Kat Hopkins.
Yes, our Discord's own Kat Hopkins, who has designed some incredible fan posters for the Dark Universe before.
So we hired her.
We hired her.
And
we were
now
like,
she's
that's
going to make
incredible.
posters for our imaginary movies, and we're super excited and super grateful.
Yeah, Kat's the best.
Yeah.
Let's talk the Patreon. So obviously a lot of you are new. You're probably not subscribed. And we're not trying to give you the hard sell. This is just updates to how things work. But over on our Patreon, patreon.com/Dylan and Dalton, one of the biggest draws has always been our Discord community, where people do a lot of their own writing. There's a whole writing community there.
There's a writing community there. They read and workshop each other's scripts in the Discord chat at least once a week.
Yeah.
There's shorts festivals.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful community of very supportive artists. It is super inclusive.
Yep.
It really, as we were saying earlier, everyone is welcome as long as you're not an asshole. And it is, I think probably one of the things we're proudest of in the years that we've been working on this is that the group of people who got together to talk about it ended up making their own shit and sharing it with each other, and it rocks.
It is absolutely my favorite place to hang out on the internet. Maybe the only good place on the internet
That's
to hang
right.
out.
The only cool place to hang out on the internet is people who specifically got together because they like us.
Yes.
The thing they have in common is that they like the two of us, and believe it or not, we love it there.
Yes, I love the internet website where everyone compliments the work that I do.
We really won the internet, didn't we?
Yeah,
we don't have to. We have our own little place where the only thing everyone there can agree on is that we're great.
People are always like, oh, Twitter or Blue Sky or Threads. No, the secret is make a social media website where people pay you to compliment you.
Yes.
And that is the trick to a happy
$5 a month.
internet life.
Thank you all so much.
Also, the Patreon gives you access to our bonus podcast, which airs once a month. And new for the pod universe is there's going to be a new monthly feed where you get the director's cuts of every single movie.
Now by director's cuts, sort of a weird phrase to use for it, but
yes.
we're fake movies. So the idea is that these will just be the narrative-only versions. It will be just the script, our performances, the score, with all of this chit-chat cut out.
Yeah.
So if you want to, in the future, you open up that feed and you listen to just the movies and nothing else.
So
no ads, none of this shit.
You want to revisit one of the movies, but you don't want to spend 3 hours and hear us workshopping in the middle. You just want to hear the movie. You can go to that. We may have deleted scenes in the director's cuts.
We will
on
when
how
I
things go.
fail to reach to get underneath the script word limit that you set.
So there will be deleted scenes in the director's cuts. There may also be different music cues, and I won't say any more about that.
Yeah.
And so that's going to be a feed that you can go through that is just the movies. If you want to do your own little movie marathon, those will be available to you the same time as part 2 comes out.
And all the content that we put on that Patreon is all available to all tiers of the Patreon. We don't paywall anything beyond the first initial paywall of $5 a month. You can get 7 days free. And then beyond that, it's just cool, goofy perks like getting your name read at the end of the show or getting to pick one of the things we talk about on the bonus pod.
Yeah, so one of the new perks of the pod universe, our highest tier on the Patreon is studio executives. And studio executives get to pick a movie for us to watch on the bonus pod and pitch, in the past, a Dark Universe remake. Well, now you will have the option when you pick your movie of whether you want us to pitch it for the Dark Universe or the pod universe, or if you want us to pick.
Right. It'll be a minute before y'all even really understand the depths of the pod universe. But so the idea is basically it's just like a guest episode, only we're the guests. And the Patreon has selected what the movie's going to be. We talk about the movie. We try to workshop on the air without discussing it ahead of time what we would want to do with our version of the movie. At the end, we kind of determine whether it can be canon to one of our universes. And it's always a fun time. It's a nice little creative jam sesh that we do. It's always light. Other stuff on the bonus pod, we make each other watch movies that we think the other person should see that they haven't seen. And we talk about whatever beverages we're drinking. Really exciting stuff. $5 a month.
And that's the new show.
And
This is the pod universe.
Yeah. So
welcome. Is there any... Did we not explain anything?
I think we explained everything in a level of detail that that new people will find annoying.
Great. I mean, that's the show. So,
the truth is, if this has bounced you, this is probably not a place for you anyway. It's okay. We are an acquired taste.
No. Yeah. So acquire it. So stick around and acquire it. Don't bounce.
We're delightful. Please stay. Like and subscribe.
Stay where you are.
All right.
It'll be better once there are movies. And speaking of which.
Okay. So we are, in just a minute, going to begin revealing our slate of films. But first, right after we were talking about Patreon, God, we're just doing nothing but salesmanship.
I swear we're not hungry.
We're not money hungry. And here's how you're about to learn that we're not
supporting creativity.
This is how we're going to prove that we're not money hungry.
But we do need to eat.
Here on the Pod Universe, we take a different approach to advertising. Rather than sell time to products and tech startups that our audience probably doesn't care about.
Fuck BetterHelp.com.
Yeah, and honestly, everybody who was going to get a Squarespace at this point has gotten a Squarespace. There's no way that anyone is hearing about Squarespace for the first time anymore.
And you all know where to get your boner supplements.
Yes. You're just going to skip those, right? We put those in there. You're not going to use the codes. It's just we're going to get a pittance from those companies who have thrown their money into a million podcasts.
We will be cutting this part out at whatever point in the future someone offers us a lot of money to run ads.
No one wins from that. You guys don't want to see it. We get paid very little for it.
But if you do want to pay us and give us a free mattress, Casper, we will listen.
I just bought a mattress. I'm good.
Send me a mattress, Casper.
Instead, we offer a spotlight to other independent creative projects like novels, albums, webcomics, newsletters, independent films, and of course, other podcasts at a really low bargain basement rate that people without marketing budgets can't afford.
So reach out to us if you want to run your ads on the Pod Universe.
There will be a link in the description of where you can go if you're interested. So our first ever sponsor is a veteran media journalist, Pete Volk. Pete is one of the many writing colleagues who has gone independent recently, and he has launched his own newsletter called PV Guide. Ditch the algorithm with PV Guide, featuring recommendations, reviews, and interviews from former Polygon senior curation editor Pete Volk. Forget the robots. Find out what to watch next with a human touch. Visit pvguide.ghost.io and subscribe today. Yeah, so if you liked Polygon before it was purchased and you wonder where all those folks went, not only can you find one of them right there at pvguide.ghost.io, but he also does a series where he does exit interviews with other former Polygon writers and editors, where you can find out what they're up to, which is pretty cool.
Love games journalism, support games journalism. We love our games journalists here.
Thanks, Pete. Everybody check that out. Okay, that was it. That was the break.
That's our ad break.
You don't have to scrub through anything, hopefully. Please, one thing we ask is, don't skip them.
Yeah, go.
We're trying really hard to make sure it's stuff you guys will actually want to hear about. So,
and speaking of things you guys want to hear about,
all right, we're back.
We are back, and it is time to reveal the Phase 1 slate for the Pod Universe. These are going to be the movies that you're going to be hearing over the next 6 months-ish, probably, with our holiday break.
Yeah.
Over the next...
Oh, more than that. There's 7 of these.
There's 7 of these?
No, there's 6 of them.
Okay, so it's about 7 or 8 months. Who knows? But these are the movies you're going to hear.
All right, here we go. The first one, this is the one that we wrote together.
Now, of course, we've rebranded here as the Pod Universe. The joke, of course, being we are a podcast cinematic universe, if you can call that a joke. But because we're the Pod Universe, there is only one sci-fi concept that we could tackle for our first movie. I think this is the earliest idea we had for this show, way back when we came up with the title.
And honestly, what would this be? What would this show be if it didn't start with a joke?
Yeah, if it didn't start with a pun.
It has to start with a pun. Well, I mean, we started this thing as a joke.
Yes.
So we're doing this for pretty serious now, but also...
We've got
Dalton,
a new bit we're committing to.
Go ahead.
The Pod Universe will begin with Pod People. Now, this is not a remake of the movie riffed on Mystery Science Theater 3000. That was a very strange and bad E.T. ripoff. No, Pod People.
Nor is it a remake of Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
No. Pod People is a sci-fi thriller set in Silicon Valley, where a pair of brilliant young engineers discover that their employers, their coworkers, and maybe even their friends and family are being systematically replaced by doppelgangers. But for what purpose? And how deep does the conspiracy go? It's a modern riff on 1950s paranoid thrillers, most obviously Invasion of the Body Snatchers. But if you know us, then you know we've got our own little twist on the premise. Wink. Pod People is our Iron Man. It's our The Mummy. It is going to be what we base everything going forward on.
Which is not to say that all of them are going to be like this. It's just to say that we're going to be using this chapter to set some of the foundational sort of setting rules. Just it's the bedrock.
Now, one thing we should also talk about is that this is actually not the first episode of the Pod Universe we've recorded.
That's right. A couple of, I guess maybe a month or two now. Ago, we sat down on this couch and this chair, and we kind of beat it out our entire saga in the very broad strokes. We have a plan going forward of what we want to do with this universe, with some of the characters that we're introducing. And we're not 100% married to it because we know that as you tell a story, sometimes its story takes you in new and interesting directions. However,
we planned about 4 phases worth of material.
So
we called our shot on an ending. Like, we called our shot on an ending for the final movie in the saga. And who knows if we will actually stick to that.
But you'll find out when we're done with this in, 3 to 5 years.
That episode has gone in the vault. We will release it.
We will release it, and we will get to see and compare what we planned versus what happened.
But that planning session
put it in the box.
It informed a lot of what we did with Pod People. So we do sort of have the advantage of writing our first film as a standalone film that hopefully you will enjoy just on its own, but it will set up things that may not pay off for years.
Yeah.
The other challenge of starting with our first film was figuring out who our stars are going to be.
Right, because these are, theoretically, some of these actors are going to be people that we're going to be relying on to anchor our entire franchise. They're going to be sticking around for years.
We had to lock them into very strict contracts.
Yes. They're not allowed to do Marvel movies anymore.
We needed to figure out who our Tom Cruise was going to be, our Robert Downey Jr., who was our anchor star. And longtime listeners of the Dark Universe are going to find our pick very funny because this is an actor that our guests throughout the Dark Universe tried to cast on about 5 different occasions.
Yeah, I don't even remember who got to pick this actor first because it seems like for months, everyone who came in was like, we're looking for this actor. So at a certain point, we're just like, okay, Justice Smith type.
A Justice Smith type. Just today, as we record this, on our Discord user Beerus went into Discord and was trying to place bets on how long it would take for us to cast Justice Smith.
0 days.
0 days. He is the anchor star of our universe. Pod People stars Justice Smith as Vincent Estrella. The film also stars Chase Sui Wonders, who is of the studio. In between our choosing her and recording this episode, she was cast to be one of the leads of the Buffy reboot. Yeah, she's going to be in the
Buffy reboot. Which is pretty cool. She'll be great fit for that.
It also stars Antonio Banderas, who you all know, and Jamie Lawson, who was recently seen in Sinners.
Right. I cast her as Charisse, the Black Cat, in my Return to the Black Lagoon pitch. And at the time, I think a lot of people didn't know who she was. Now everybody knows who she is. She's Perline in Sinners, and she rocks.
Yeah.
And she's in the movie.
Now, when it comes to choosing a director, we are going to do the same thing we did for our finale of The Dark Universe. Since this one is very personal to us and it is kicking off our universe, we're saying that we directed this one.
In the fantasy world, in our imaginary movie studio, this is the one where we're putting our names on this thing. We're launching it ourselves. This is like JJ doing the pilot of Lost, except for we're not going to nope out. We're really more like Damon Lindelof.
Showrunners often direct the first episode.
Yes.
And
so this is it. Yeah, written and directed by Dalton Deschain and Dylan Roth. And then we take a step back, and then we're just writing and producing.
Yes. So Pod People, starring Justice Smith, Chase Sui Wonders, Antonio Banderas, and Jamie Lawson, will be out next week.
Yes, part 1. That'll be Act 1 of the movie, and the first half of Act 2 up to the midpoint. Good little cliffhanger there.
We've been putting the finishing touches on it over the last couple days, and we think you are really going to like it. And if you don't,
just remember that The Mummy 2017
also not a good movie.
Good, and we made some really good hay out of that. So
let us know if you hate
recover.
It. Yeah, let us know if you hate it, and we'll fix it in post.
Yeah, leave your comments. They're healthy for us to look at.
So after we kick off our pod universe with a co-written script, Dylan is going to pitch our first solo pitch of the series. And what do you got for us, Dylan?
I'm doing a space opera.
We're going to space right away.
We are immediately
wasting no time.
Going to space. This is something I didn't think I was going to do right away. And I realized that was a silly thing to hold back on. Because for one thing, I really want our cinematic universe not to fall into the trap of seeming like it is episodes of a show. I want these to be distinct films with distinct identities and distinct genres that are set in the same universe and connect in interesting ways that and are designed so that they will converge to a point. But just because they're converging at a point does not mean they cannot start from all the way the fuck around the place, right? So I am writing a script right now called Last Flight of the Stone Hammer. It's a space sci-fi war story set in a far-off corner of our galaxy. It centers around 2 cultures whose long conflict reaches a sudden and inexplicable impasse. What happens when people who have fought their whole lives suddenly have nothing left but each other?
I can't believe you're not a Coheed and Cambria fan.
Honestly, I really need to give another shot because I just didn't go in. Especially like I'm a Queens boy. I should be in on that.
They just did the Brooklyn Cyclones collab.
Yeah, that's cool. You know what it is? This happened with me, I think, and Red Hot Chili Peppers too. There was a cover band that did Coheed and Cambria that was more popular than my band when I was coming up. And that's frustrated me because, like, listen, you guys are playing great. I wrote these.
Well, you don't have to revisit the Chili Peppers, but you should revisit In Keeping Secrets of a Silent Earth 3.
I should.
Yes.
Anyway, maybe they'll be on the soundtrack. Who knows? The cast that I've selected, a bunch of actors who I always wanted to cast in the Dark Universe, never found the right thing for. Our lead is Jodie Comer from Killing Eve, and recently in The Bike Riders, and she's all over the place. She's a great voices guy. She's really good at doing voices. I haven't decided if she should be assigned a voice to do. Manny Jacinto from most famously from The Good Place, plays Jason in that, but was also the villain everybody got really horny for in one of those Star Wars shows, The Acolyte. Bringing him back to space for a very different role. Sterling K. Brown.
Wasn't Sterling K. Brown in the Dark Universe?
You cast Sterling K. Brown. I was very excited. He did one episode. He was
minor character
in your Phantom of the Opera, Love Never Dies. And I was jealous I couldn't use him, but also it worked out because what I wanted to cast him as, when we were thinking we were going to keep going crazier and weirder and bigger with Universal stuff, I wanted to do a take on Battlestar Galactica. And he was going to be my Adama.
And now he is.
And now, in a way, he's going to be playing the commander of a sort of rough and tumble renegade vessel that is fighting to survive. So he's going to be playing a very similar role. And you know what? Let's throw in Michelle Yeoh.
Sure.
She's always working.
Yeah. Now, is this movie, would you say it's more, because as listeners know, you are the biggest Star Trek fan in the world. Is this, would you say, more Star Trek or more Battlestar Galactica or more Star Wars?
This is sort of, if I was going to
or more
pitch
Space Mutiny.
It's not more Space Mutiny. I would say that this is somewhere between Battlestar Galactica and Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay.
Because what I realized after I set up my predicament and designed my two different alien cultures.
So it's Firefly, you're saying?
No.
I don't know. I haven't seen Firefly.
I mean, I guess a little bit. It's funny because the director I've chosen is not Joss Whedon, but it is Drew Goddard, who is a Mutant Enemy guy. Like I think he probably worked on Firefly, actually.
Did he do Cabin in the Woods?
He did Cabin in the Woods.
Okay,
and
that's great.
Bad Times at the El Royale.
Oh, yes,
Which I actually still haven't seen, but I've seen a lot of his TV work, and I think he's a good fit, in part because I realized that I'm incapable of telling a war story that's not, like, absurd, because I think that war is stupid. So it's not a comedy, but the jokes begin almost immediately.
It's Starship Troopers?
In my current draft of script. No, it's not a full-on satire.
Okay.
It's satirical elements. This is where I get to flex my Star Trek muscles a little bit, and that I am trying to build interesting alien cultures that reflect things in us, but do not directly represent any existing cultures on Earth. And I'm hoping, if I do my job well, that the listeners will be able to relate to, sympathize with, and maybe even root for both sides of this conflict in different ways. Without either of them being your own personal ideology or something representing your own culture. That is part of the challenge.
Walking a fine line.
I know. This might be the one where I make a complete ass of myself, and I'm going to do it right away.
Right out of the gate.
Nowhere
to go but up.
Because that's what I'm excited about doing right now. So
I am excited for this. I am excited to hear the trailer.
Yeah, we'll put the trailer for that one on. That'll be on at the end of our first guest episode.
Yeah.
All right. Dalton, what's your first solo pitch?
So then we are going to take an incredible U-turn from there. We are really sticking to our idea that, like, all of these are going to be very different movies.
Like, what if there was a movie studio that did a universe, but they weren't bound to, like, one really specific genre?
Yeah. Following Last Flight of the Stone Hammer, we are going to get my first solo pitch, Los Alamos, a paranoid thriller in the vein of The Adjustment Bureau, or even The Mothman Prophecies.
Big Dalton fave.
It's a fave of mine. But more in the world of Oppenheimer, by which I mean World War II, our world. In 1945, a young French physicist working on the Manhattan Project attempts to bring the development of the atomic bomb to a halt until mysterious figures start to come out of the woodwork to stop him. Are they government agents, Soviet spies, or something otherworldly? It's probably the latter.
Probably that last one.
It's a sci-fi universe, so it's probably the last one. This is me getting to do a period piece, a World War II period piece that is also very sci-fi, and I am fascinated by this period of history. I'm fascinated by the Manhattan Project, and this is going to take a very different look at it than what Oppenheimer did. It is going to star Jacob Anderson from Interview with the Vampire on AMC.
It's funny because, like, I was thinking, like, I don't recognize that name. Oh, it's probably somebody from Interview with the Vampire because that's what you're watching
It's
right
so
now.
good, Dylan. You
I
have
will
to
watch it.
It's so good.
There's a lot of baseball on right now.
He was also in Game of Thrones.
Okay.
So Jacob Anderson is our star. Also, now these other cast members are subject to change because I haven't started the script yet.
Right. And you know, sometimes when you see those Deadline or Variety announcements, those casts, sometimes they change.
There might be scheduling conflicts.
Uh-huh.
Currently, I have Jacob Anderson, Kirsten Dunst.
Oh, from Interview with a Vampire.
Oh, fuck. I did do that. I didn't even realize.
She's the kid in the original movie.
Yes. And Rami Malek.
Actual vampire.
Actual vampire Rami Malek. Now, for director here, I really went all the way the fuck out. We usually don't pull triggers like this.
Yeah, we usually don't go with somebody this big.
But I was thinking about who the best... I was racking my brain for who would be best to direct this one for the way I have it in my head. And I eventually said, fuck it. It's Steven Spielberg.
All right, you're going to have to write a script that feels worthy of Spielberg.
Look,
you're writing a very different kind of huge check right now than I just did.
That's right. We know that Spielberg's favorite period in American history is also World War II, or in world history. And he loves sci-fi.
Yeah, listen, I'm not saying it's implausible that he would do it. What I'm saying is a Spielberg movie.
Yes.
That is, give or take a Ready Player One, a tall order.
It is.
A tall order.
I am a massive Spielberg fan. It's not going to be me doing Spielberg the way J.J. Abrams does Spielberg, but
you're not going to go Stranger Things mode?
I'm not going to do that, but I do think this is a fit for him, and he could do it. So,
okay. Well, what I'm expecting is Bridge of Spies Spielberg here. More than, say Close Encounters. He's got a legacy of weird Minority Report, dark sci-fi movies.
It's going to kind of be Bridge of Spies meets Minority Report.
Okay.
If I had to Spielbergize it like that.
Well, my interest is piqued.
I have some really cool ideas for it.
A lot of
I have
vampires
to do
in it.
A lot of research, and I have some documentaries to watch. Luckily, I've already read numerous books about the Manhattan Project and Los Alamos. So
yeah, that's the thing, is that I like that we as we're starting this thing, we get to jump around between genres and things and write about different things that are obsessing us either in the short term or long term.
Mm-hmm.
I'll get to that a little bit when we come back from the break, but how I'm pulling in some more of my current obsessions.
If you are not a history buff or you don't love like World War II pieces, don't worry. This is still very much a sci-fi movie, and I think it's going to scratch your speculative genre itch no matter what.
I think that one of the things that really intrigues me about this is I think it's going about it the right way in terms of like what kind of influences you want to draw from. The Adjustment Bureau is an interesting movie, but I don't think it's a very good movie.
No, but it's what I thought of when I was thinking of the sort of men in suits that have maybe
some sort of otherworldly powers and they're influencing events.
I saw it in theaters. I don't really remember much of it except the kind of vibe, and that is kind of the vibe.
It is a very distinctive movie with it's got a vibe of its own. But I think that that's often a good way to go. Where like, I picked between Battlestar Galactica and Guardians of the Galaxy, like two really good ones. Somewhere between those two really good ones.
Yeah.
Right? You picked one of your favorite movies ever, a cult classic, Mothman Prophecies, and a movie that a lot of people haven't seen and is generally regarded to be pretty mediocre. And then, of course, a Best Picture winner. And you put them in a blender and then pour it into a glass and serve it to Spielberg. So
Spielberg, call me. We can make this happen.
How that goes. Okay. So that is the first half of the slate. Before we go to the second half, let me pitch you something that we did not write. We got another sponsor poll for you here. It's another independent creator and a name that will be familiar to listeners of our old format. It's Merritt K. Merritt was a multiple-time guest on Are You Afraid of the Dark Universe, pitching us her take on The Black Cat. and joining our voice cast for 2 of our Dark Legion crossover episodes. Merritt is also an author, and she's got a new book out. This will shock you, Dalton. I have read it.
You read a book?
I read a book.
Dylan read a book.
Yes, I have this first book I ever read, so of course I thought it was great.
So expect all of Dylan's pitches to be influenced by this book.
Yeah, this script's giving me real Vampirocene vibes.
You should have read it during the Dark Universe, but it
Merritt's
wasn't out yet.
book is called Vampirocene, and this is how she describes it. When viral pop star Janie Mack comes out as a vampire, most people think it's just a play for attention. But when she launches a new movement to stop climate change, people start listening, including charismatic leftist podcaster Ari Rosenbaum, who abruptly quits his popular show to start working for Janie full-time. With his comfortable lifestyle suddenly disrupted, Ari's producer sets out to try and bring him back. But in the process, he's forced to figure out just what it is he really wants for himself and the world, and what he'd be willing to sacrifice to get it. You can buy the book at merrittk.itch.io/Vampirocene. That's VAMPIROCENE, or check the notes underneath this show.
And Merritt has 2 R's and 2 T's.
Yes, that's important to know. MERRITTK. It's really cool.
Yeah.
I have actually read a couple of books. We're dropping the Dylan is illiterate thing for this version of the show. I will admit that I read some books. I did go to school for writing, and that involved some reading. I really dug it. I think it's a really cool sort of social sci-fi take on
and
vampires.
if you are missing the Dark Universe, this sounds like exactly the kind of
really,
thing
yes,
you would want.
It is a cool sort of conspiracy drama, but it's got like a really good sort of first-person narrative that is. I mean, we'll talk about it more in the future because Merritt has bought a couple ads from us, so we'll talk about it again.
I'll read it before the next one.
Yeah, and then we can talk about it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, once again, short little ad break for y'all. Let's get back to the show.
All right, we're going to continue our slate reveal. We are halfway through the Phase 1 slate. And Dylan, it's your turn.
Okay. This was originally going to be the one I've been percolating on the longest. I've been thinking about this one since we were still doing the Dark Universe, and I ended up moving it because I got more excited about the other thing and because I wanted to get some distance between this and Pod People. Merge Conflict is a psychological horror film. You might even call it a monster movie. A sports writer and stay-at-home dad begins experiencing radical and increasingly dangerous personality changes, transforming him into the violent man he's always feared becoming. Is he losing his mind, or is someone else taking it? I'll put my cards on the table. This is sort of the werewolf movie I never wrote for Dark Universe.
You wrote several werewolf movies for the Dark Universe.
But they were never really, neither of them were really good werewolf movies. They were good fantasy adventure / superhero style like movies with some fun character stuff and some political bent. But what I never really did was tackle a story of the one of the root things about werewolves is the idea of, oh no, I am becoming something dangerous to the people that I love.
Yeah.
And so I'm doing that, but of course, with a contemporary political bent.
Strange for you.
Yes. I don't know.
And this is one where you can't really make the lead character a superhero.
No. No one's getting superpowers, but they are becoming terrifying. My goal here is to scare myself as much as possible. Something I rarely really shot for on our horror podcast. I only did it a couple of times. This is a horror movie. So if, halfway through the season, you're like, dang, I wish they'd do a horror movie. One's coming right up. And most of this cast I have not selected yet. I have only chosen my lead, somebody else who I always wanted to put in the Dark Universe, and you beat me to it.
In the same movie.
In the very same one. There was that one where you did a bunch of my favorite actors all at once. You put Carrie-Anne Moss, Sterling K. Brown, and the star of Merge Conflict, Dan Stevens.
Of course.
I love Dan Stevens. This is a guy who can go from zero to psycho in a blink. He has done roles where he is wearing the mask of being normal and it's gradually slipping. And he's played roles where he is like an android and he's gradually becoming more human. He is so good at deconstructing and recompiling a character on screen before your eyes. This is exactly what I'm looking for. I'm very excited to pretend to work with Dan Stevens on this project. I've chosen a director. I'm not married to this director yet. For woke reasons.
Well, yeah, because you're already married.
Andrew Siemens is a really cool director of a movie I really like.
I was actually looking at him for Los Alamos because of, I think, the same movie we're about to talk
We're talking about Resurrection.
Yeah.
Really, really good, freaky psychological horror movie starring Rebecca Hall and is it Rebecca Hall?
Yeah,
right? Yeah,
Rebecca Hall.
Starring Rebecca Hall and Tim Roth. It's really good. It's really like viscerally gnarly and not in really a visual way. It just makes you uncomfortable the whole time. It's really good.
It's really great.
I think you do a great job. However, here's what I'm thinking though. I tend to this is a movie where I'm going to, as I frequently do, I'm going to be talking about masculinity a little bit. And I tend to think, especially if I, a man, am writing it, you get a really interesting, different perspective and look and commentary from a filmmaker about masculinity from someone who is not a man. And I'd like that ingredient in there. I went through looking to try and see if I could find a filmmaker that seemed like a perfect fit, especially one we haven't used before. I haven't settled on anybody yet.
You know who's got a great horror movie in her that hasn't come out yet?
Who?
Emma Seligman.
Yeah.
Shiva Baby is a horror movie.
Oh, it's a thriller. It is an edge of your seat thriller. The thing is, she's so funny, and this is the only one where I feel like I don't plan to write a lot of jokes and have a lot of humor. I feel like I want it to be more dreadful. And she does dreadful.
Yes.
Right? Shiva Baby is dreadful, complimentary.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know. I'll think about it. We'll say we're having meetings with Andrew Siemens. Yeah, I'm not married to it because I kind of do think it would be cool. What I'm going to be putting into the movie is going to be my experience, right? And obviously every person has different experience, different relationship with their gender. But I feel like someone with a dramatically different relationship to my gender than I have with it would be useful. So we'll see what happens. This whole thing could end up just being, like where they're like, well, we were looking for a woman to direct so-and-so, but then fucking...
What Dylan is saying is there are no good women horror directors.
I've got binders full of them, Dalton. There are lots of good ones. I'm just looking for a very particular vibe, and I have to figure out if there's somebody who fits that vibe perfectly, or if I need to surrender a little bit of that. Because part of the idea also is when you're selecting a director for a movie that you're writing and producing, I say as if this is a thing that I've done, you do have to imagine like you're going to be giving up a little bit or a lot of the control of what that final product is going to be, because a film is a director's medium, right? Now on our show, we are the entire studio. But I don't know, it's an interesting thing to think about. If anyone has any recommendations, movies they'd like me to check out, that they think based on that vibe might be cool, leave them in the comments. Hit us up on social media at the tag on your screen that we'll have come up with between now and when we post the episode. And so I'm curious if anybody has thoughts. Also, watch Resurrection, because it fucking bangs.
Resurrection is great.
All right, Dalton, what's next on our slate?
The last solo pitch of Phase 1 is a film that I am currently calling Late Adopters. Late Adopters is an apocalyptic action comedy film.
Okay, good. So we have one that is comedy.
I don't know how it's a comedy yet, but I think that is the tone I'm going to be going for.
Okay, because you said The Old Dark House was going to be a comedy, and that ended up bleak as fuck.
Okay, but it was funny too.
I mean, it's funny to you because you're evil.
You liked Cole Sprouse's character.
No,
I
did.
Funny.
No, I had fun with that character.
An apocalyptic action comedy film. It's the end of the world as we know it, and the secret to society's survival is in the hands of a 20-year-old coder. Now every mega corporation in America is after her, and the only people who can protect her are an aging off-the-grid gay couple who left the world behind long ago. This is going to star Bailey Bass, also from Interview with the Vampire, Season 1.
Those producers are going to murder you. They're going to be so mad.
She's off the show now, so she's free. She's a free agent.
She's available.
Bailey Bass, John Goodman, and John Malkovich.
They're the couple?
They are the couple.
That is a visually funny couple to look at. John Malkovich is also very tall.
Yes.
If you had cast, for instance, a really small, skinny guy or a shorter, round man, that perhaps would increase the comedy factor.
We went a little Abbott and Costello.
Yes. Yeah. But, two great actors.
Two great actors, two very funny actors.
Two very funny actors.
Bailey Bass, incredible actress and really funny as well. I chose Nia DaCosta as the director. Nia DaCosta is someone who, her two big films, I don't love either of them. But as she has said in interviews, she has said for both of them, I didn't really have a finished script when I made them. And I think she does some really great things in them. It is really the script that I have problems with in both of them. And she's being trusted with the next 28 Years Later movie.
Oh, that's cool.
She's directing the follow-up to 28 Years Later, which is in theaters now and is really good.
28 more years later?
No, 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple.
Okay. Finally going to find out what's going on with that Bone Temple.
I mean, we kind of find out.
I
in this
haven't
one.
seen 28 Years Later yet, but now I know there's a Bone Temple.
There's
so
a Bone
thanks.
Temple.
Spoilers.
I think with a script as good as the one I'm going to write.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely DaCosta worthy.
Yeah, DaCosta worthy. I really like her as a director. I'm waiting for the film of hers that I really love, and I'm confident it's going to come soon. And maybe it will be late adopters. But yeah, I wanted to, in phase 1 of the Dark Universe, I did The Invisible Man, which I think that kind of variety and tone really set us up and kind of set the tone for the rest of the project in a nice way. So I wanted to see if I could do something funny again. Now, my idea for The Invisible Man I had about 3 weeks before we taped it. So I'm going to figure out what exactly is funny about this other than the fact that I cast funny actors. But hey, we'll find out. Maybe I'll change the tone of it at the last second. All of these things are subject to change.
Sure,
I mean,
the creative process is a process, right? We're all going to be finding new things as we write, and we're going to be telling you about them as we read them to each other.
But we wanted to give you stuff to chew on.
Yeah, because we kept a lot of you folks waiting a
expect.
long time to hear what we were even going to do. So now you know a lot about what we're going to do, but we got one more for you. Because as we said earlier, we like to end our phases with big crossover stories. And we kind of got scooped on this one.
Yeah, we got scooped by Ice Cube.
A big scoop of ice. So we are also doing a movie called War of the Worlds, and we are also doing a new take on it. What is that take? It will be informed by things that you'll hear and see in the other movies beforehand. And besides that, we're not saying shit.
Other than the bar is in hell for War of the Worlds films at the moment.
It could scarcely be worse. Ours won't even be a real movie. And people will probably like it better.
We could bring Spielberg back for it. He could do his second War of the Worlds movie.
He might take issue with participating in a movie that is like kind of sort of a prequel to a different movie called War of the Worlds.
Nah, he'll be fine with it.
Yeah. We'll finance whatever other really good movie he wants to make that Universal doesn't want to pay to make.
Yeah, and we'll make our own theme park for him.
Yeah, everybody, please watch his West Side Story. Please watch The Fabelmans.
It's so
whatever.
I still haven't seen The Fabelmans. Can you fucking believe
whatever else he puts out in theaters next, please buy a ticket and see it.
I'm about to go on a Spielberg kick. West Side Story was on my ballot for top 10 movies since 2000.
It's very good.
It's so fucking good.
It's beautiful, and the man still moves a camera like nobody else.
God damn, the fucking dance.
It's
scene.
so good. And they don't, when they say you don't make them like this anymore, this is exactly the shit that we're talking about. It's great. But also The Fabelmans, his big personal sort of
I gotta see that.
Romana Clef or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Great movie.
And so that's our phase 1 slate. Let's recap it real quick. We're going to start next week with Pod People, which is going to have an ending that will reverberate through the rest of our saga.
Mm-hmm. Then we'll have Last Flight of the Stone Hammer, an exciting and violent and probably funny space opera.
And then we'll have Los Alamos, a 1945 period piece about a man trying to stop the atomic bomb and the creatures trying to stop him from stopping it.
After that, we've got Merge Conflict, a monster movie that will not be funny at all.
Yeah, right.
There'll be some jokes. I can't not. I don't know. I'm fucking weed and poisoned for life.
Then we'll have Late Adopters, which will hopefully be funny.
And then War of the Worlds, which will be a big crossover adventure.
With a full cast.
With a full cast, yes. I don't even know if we really mentioned this for the new folks. When we do our big season-ending things, it's a full-on table read with a cast. It's not just us reading the parts back and forth and me doing voices. We got other people doing voices.
Yeah.
And the production values are only getting bigger and better, and our casts are spectacular, and we're excited to do that for you one more time, and hopefully many more times.
And then who knows where we'll go from there. We have planned out sort of ideas for the rest of the saga, but we haven't picked what movies we're going to do.
Yeah.
I think we're going to figure that out as we go, as we always do. So hopefully you are along for the ride with us, and we'll see where we end up taking this thing.
All right, so before we leave you with the trailer to Pod People, got one more non-Dylan and Dalton thing to pitch at you. Our last sponsor for this week's episode is another vampire novel because, by God, our advertisers know our audience. Author Chase McPherson has a 5-part novel series called Bloodbound. If you were a fan of our Death's Door saga and you're bummed out about there not being any gay vampires on our show anymore, then, buddy, have I got news for you. Here's how Chase pitches the book series. When Hunter Reeves wakes with no memory and a new thirst for blood, he's thrust into a hidden world of vampires, shadow realms, and dangerous secrets. Recruited by The Order, a covert force protecting both humans and the supernatural, Hunter must master his powers, confront his demonic heritage, and survive treacherous alliances. Along the way, he battles betrayal, forbidden love, and enemies bent on shattering the fragile balance between worlds. Bloodbound is a gripping saga of identity, resilience, and redemption, where every choice could save 2 worlds or doom them both. Learn more at bychasemcp.com. That's bychasemcp for direct links to your favorite online book retailers. That link will be in the description wherever you find this.
That's by B-Y, not B-U-Y.
Oh, yes, that's right. By as in this novel is by Chase McP.
So you got a lot of vampire books to read, sounds like. And you, I mean the listener or viewer.
I mean, I also have them in my inbox, so, you know. You finally found a way to get me to read books. Make it my job. Hey, so this has been fun. Hopefully these ads haven't been intrusive and you've been enjoying learning about some stuff. And if you want to be a part of that, hit us up. We'll find a thing that works for you to get your project out there. We're looking to do more than just novels and written publications. We'd love to be able to, you know, throw a clip from somebody's new single or a trailer to somebody's independent film. These are the kind of things we'd love to use our platform for, and I think it's cool to just have a community of art that supports each other and isn't all built on private equity. That's really nice.
Speaking of singles, doesn't your band have a new single out?
That's right. Well, it's sort of new. It's a new mix of our song You and Me and the Means of Production. My band No Jersey just put it out. And hopefully there will be a video out not long after.
Nice.
Check it out.
And my new single's out next week, so you'll hear it at the end of Pod People Part 1.
What's that single called?
It's called Some Dark Magic, which is also a song that I put out before, but this is a new arrangement and new mix, and
cool.
There
New
will
bridge.
be a music video for it.
All right. So, quick look at what we got coming up on the schedule. Next week, September 14th, Pod People Part 1. Week after that, September 21st, Pod People Part 2.
Which, by the way, when Pod People Part 2 comes out, you and I are going to be in Universal Studios, Florida, checking out the actual Dark Universe
theme
together.
park. Don't worry, we're going to take footage. We bought some wireless lavalier mics. We're going to do some content out there.
We're going to make some video content of the Dark Universe know-it-alls, us, visiting the Dark Universe.
And critiquing their story choices.
It's a work trip. It's a write-off for us.
That's right. So then the week after that, on September 28th, is a bonus episode where we are fielding a studio mandate to do a pitch based on Bottoms.
Speaking of Emma Seligman,
Goblin Snack commissioned
love
us
that movie.
to
I
do
can't wait to rewatch it.
A Dark Universe take on Bottoms, the newest movie we've ever, the first movie that we've ever been asked to do that is younger than the show.
This gives me an excuse to buy the Blu-ray, so thank you, Goblin Snack, for picking this one because I love this movie. And also, I'm so excited about this, everybody. Normally on our bonus pod, we talk then about movies going back and forth, but we're currently between movie watching projects. And so, at the request of the Discord, Dylan is going to live on air take the Coggiati. Now, what is the Coggiati, you might be asking? Well, the Coggiati, first of all, can be found at the incredible URL transsexual.org. The Coggiati is, how many questions is this? It is so fucking long. It is a 65 question survey.
Okay, I hope a lot of these are yes and no questions.
No, they are not. They are multiple choice.
Like we have a lot of work to do, Dalton. How long is this episode going to be? Should it just be its own episode?
I don't know. We're going to see.
God.
But Dylan's going to take the Coggiati. It is a quiz to tell you if you are a transsexual or not. It is early internet stuff. It is very bad.
Is not terribly accurate.
It is not
in its
terribly
assessments.
accurate or well written, but we are gonna hear Dylan's results live on air. So
Okay.
tune in to find out if Dylan is a secret transsexual on our bonus podcast. And then
Then we'll do a guest episode on October 5th. We're not able to announce who we have as our guest yet, but we've got some fun stuff lined up for you all. So that is sort of our first wave of episodes taking us into October. Thank you all so much for sticking around all the way to the end of this. As a special treat for you, here comes the teaser trailer for Pod People.
fade in on a modest community garden with a peculiar theme. The flowers and shrubbery are arranged between and within old, hollowed-out electronics. Video game consoles, cell phones, televisions, microwaves. Dirt has been caked into all of them, tiny sprouts of green growing from the cracks.
Our world is full of wonders. Wonders of technology that we create. Wonders of nature that we presume to control.
The camera floats down to rest in front of a desktop tower that's recently been added. We're zoomed in close on the power button.
For eons, we have shaped our world as we saw fit.
Time begins to race, the sun rising and setting and rising again in a rapid time lapse. As the days progress, a small stalk of green pushes against the power button from inside, nudging it out of the enclosure before popping it off entirely, turning into a proper stem.
But what if our world is just a part of something larger?
As the flower grows, we notice something else out of focus in the background. It's tucked back in the far corner, barely noticeable through the greenery, only detectable to us now because of how quickly it's expanding in the time lapse. It's black, ovular, vibrating with energy, swelling from nothing to the size of a watermelon.
What if we're just a flower in someone else's garden?
The bud at the end of the plant's stem finally flowers, obscuring the orb from our view. Now we cut rapidly between scenes. Two masked figures sneak through rows of desks in a dark, empty office building, flashlights dancing in front of them. We hear a woman's voice.
This isn't going to stop.
A SWAT team empties out of a van and swarms towards a Silicon Valley office building at night.
My people are everywhere.
Cut to a daylight car chase, one ratty old sedan being pursued by a pair of police cruisers. In the driver's seat, a young woman played by Chase Sui Wonders sees the sirens in her rear view and tightens her grip on the wheel. In the back seat, a young man played by Justice Smith braces himself.
And they're going to keep coming.
Cut back outside as our view of the car rises, and we see that it's being pursued not only by the police cars, but by every other vehicle on the road. Cut hard to black. Fade back in on Justice Smith, blood on his face and clothes, kneeling on the floor of a dimly lit room. Someone stands with their back to us, holding a gun. We hear him speak.
If I know you, and I definitely do,
Cut to a reverse shot. It's also Justice Smith.
then you're going to love this.
From the creators of Are You Afraid of the Dark Universe comes a new saga of imaginary movies. The Pod Universe presents Pod People.
Coming to YouTube and all podcatchers this September. Thanks, everybody. One final bit. Let's acknowledge our patrons. Thank you very much to our executive producers. These are patrons who have subscribed at $15 a month and get themselves a shout out on everything we record during their time there. Thank you, Brent Dreyer, Brian Egan, Mar Bendlar, Matt Thackeray, Soonmot Speep, and Mike Lee Whiplash. And thank you to our studio executives. These are our $25 a month patrons who, in addition to this shout out, get to pick one thing that we talk about on the bonus pod in our studio mandates section. Thank you to Alyssa, the Pazuzu apologist, Bill French, Beerus, Brandon Bullock, Jasper Stark, Joe Valiant, Jonathan Morgantini, Cadle, Moose, Rich Mays, and Tom Webster.
Find us at thepoduniverse.com. That's thepoduniverse.com. Someone else already had poduniverse.com. And you'll find links to our new social handles. And of course, go to patreon.com/Dylan and Dalton to join the Patreon or start your 7-day free trial.
Thank you so much, and we'll see you next week in the
Pod
universe.
We have to figure out
We
our
haven't
sign-off.
figured out our new sign-off yet.
It took us a whole phase last time, I think, to find
we'll
our
get
dark-
there. If anybody has suggestions about what we should do for our sign-off, please put it in the comments.
We're being sucked into the dark. The pod.
Maybe
I almost said
instead,
dark
until next
universe
time, we
again.
just go.
Ah!
We're
We're in the Phantom Zone.
Yes.
I don't know. It's the pod universe. We'll see you next week.
See you next week. Bye.